Can I ask you a personal question?
Okay. A Star is Born tells the story of Jackson, Maine, a country rock star, and Ali, a woman with undeniable talent, and their singular journey through romance and music. It falls into the categories of drama, music, and romance. All this is wrapped into the same movie. Particularly, this story has been made in 4 occasions for Hollywood. The first one in 1937, starring Frederick March and Janet Gaynor. The second one was in 1954, starring James Mason and Judy Garland. In 1976, this story starred Chris Christopherson and Barbara Streisand. And last but not least, the last remake of this story was made in 2018, starring Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. Today, I will focus on the latest version of this movie and why it deserves to be acknowledged. So, let's start for how timeless is this story. To be honest, there are a lot of important points and messages to highlight, but I will mention the most important ones. One of the things that makes this story predominantly powerful is the connection between 2 artists that believe in each other's talents. Also, the layers and layers and layers that are built throughout the events that show the rise to stardom and the pitfalls of fame. Likewise, it highlights the destructiveness and loneliness that fame can bring to people's lives. Besides, it makes a comment on the false idea of love. When watching this movie, we can see that love isn't everything, since it cannot fix deep personal unhappiness or emotional void. Moreover, it talks about how the music industry tries to transform artists in a product, like a package, for people to consume. This story is basically a journey that covers a full spectrum of human emotions and life experiences while focusing in the never-ending cycle of the music industry in which one star rises as another flames out. The story moves slowly in the beginning of the film, making the process of falling in love between Ali and Jackson more convincing. In fact, the first 30 minutes of the film, we can really connect with the characters, get to know them, and understand where they come from. The second half of the movie goes a bit faster. There are many sequences in different time frames. This is a draw for the filmmaker because the change of pace may seem a bit abrupt. However, it helps us get into how hectic and busy their lives turn into as Ali becomes a pop star and gains recognition. The 2018 version of this story is directed by Bradley Cooper, who also stars in this film. Although A Star is Born is the first film in which he debuts as a director, his film received many nominations and awards at well-known events that celebrate films, such as the Oscars, Golden Globes, BAFTA, among others. Also, in this movie, we can see how Bradley Cooper gets involved and understands the story clearly, to the point that he gets us into it through a lot of heat-stalking close-ups by creating a new reality in which life seeps into fiction. Another fundamental part of his successful directorial debut is the choice of his casting, especially Lady Gaga and Sam Elliott. In one hand, Lady Gaga brings to the film a realistic essence, and not only that, but also attributes truthfulness and at the same time personal experience to the story, which makes it more authentic. All that mixed with her incredible voice makes this story stand out and more believable. On the other hand, Sam Elliott does an incredible job as a supporting actor. His role in the film adds dimension to Jackson Maine's character. Since Sam Elliott appears in the film as Bobby, Jackson's story and past become more credible in the film. Without any doubt, this actor does an incredible job creating a charming and pure environment, with a space to feel and release emotions throughout the film. In other words, in Cooper's hands, this story transforms into one that speaks to our time, celebrity overshadowing art, the question of authenticity of art, and how capitalism is at the heart of all these problems. Last but not least, the cinematography and camera direction in this movie add a lot to the story. The camera follows the actors almost like documenting a real-life story. Every take seems rehearsed to perfection. The cinematographer in charge of the visual aesthetics of this film is Matthew Libatic, who has a great experience and skill with the camera. The movements, settings, frames, and lighting that he uses in this film tells us a story within a story. The palette that he uses is striking but shapes the characters and the story. The control of the camera over the smallest details makes this story more visible. One of the things that stand out the most from his work as cinematography on this film, beyond the incredible shots, is the use of light to tell the story. At the beginning of the movie, he uses red and cyan color light to tell Jackson's story. Color light that turns to magenta when Ali becomes her own artist on her own merit. In conclusion, it is these small details that make this film an admirable and fair audiovisual piece to admire.